Hello, and welcome to COVID Confessions. For our last two episodes, we decided that we wanted to speak about our own experiences, so in this episode, Kai interviews me, Keat Whitney. This one is pretty heavy and long, so it may be a lot to get through, but it's chock full of my own experiences during COVID, as well as reflections on the project. This one is, of course, very personal to me, so I really hope you enjoy.
Woohoo! I get to do the intro for once!
Yeah.
This is the one and only time.
Yep.
Hi, guys. We're here with a super special guest that you've never heard from before. Keat Whitney!
Woo! Hey, it's me, guys! Isn't that crazy?
That's so crazy.
You're gonna hear my voice for like 40 minutes. Isn't that great?
Alright, you know the drill.
Name, pronouns in relation to the school system?
Yeah.
Yo, okay. I really short-circuited there for a second.
No, I know.
My name is Keat Whitney. My pronouns right now are they, them. And my relation to the school system, I have been a student at UMA for my entire middle and high school career.
6 whole years.
6 whole years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You're asking all the questions.
I am. There's so much pressure. No, I'm kidding. Prior to the pandemic, how did you do in school?
It's interesting. I was actually doing pretty great. I had struggled for a lot of years academically because I had a lot of problems with like focus and actually doing things when I was told to.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with homework, I was a horrible kid when it came to homework. But in 9th grade, I was actually like doing pretty well, even in defiance of like the times I had before. Also, our wonderful science teacher, Mr. Olson, that was like my main scourge for 9th grade, but I was able to go and do pretty well, surprising kind of myself during 9th grade.
That's so great. Saying the word Olson gave me flashbacks. How are you interacting with like peers and staff before COVID?
I was and am a very social person.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of friends who I would interact with often. Anytime there were classes, I would be working and I would also be like having all these different conversations with friends and also with teachers. And I had a lot of great teachers, minus Mr. Olson during that time, who I was like, you know, a lot of them were teachers that I felt I could be friends with,
Mm-hmm.
which was important to me. I did not really interact with like the wider school though. I never really have.
That's fair.
I've always been somebody who prefers to keep in the circles that I have set up for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually pretty like closed.
Yeah, totally fair. When COVID first hit, how did you react, and how was the schooling experience during, I guess, the end of 9th grade?
Yeah. At first it was denial. Because I think on a certain level, because we had been hearing about COVID for like a month or so when we had first heard about it. It was like
Mm-hmm.
very late December of 2019, and it was like, oh, news has just come out that this new like strain of virus has originated in China, and like none of us really worried about it because it was like it was still just that thing that we heard about on CNN 10 or that we didn't care about.
Mm-hmm.
But then like it went on and on and on, and we started to hear more and more news about how it was like slowly starting to spread.
Mm-hmm.
And then in March, there was just a point where we went on spring break and they were like, okay, so our spring break is going to be kind of extended because of this. We're going to be like at home for about 3 weeks. We've got like a little bit of stuff set up. Don't worry. And everybody was like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. We'll just like stay in our homes and like wait out the plague. And then it kept going. And it kept going and it kept going.
Yeah.
And I think it was a few weeks in that I really realized this is going to be my life, if not for the rest of the school year, for a while.
Yeah.
And that really, like, immediately my grades tanked.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't... I have never been the best at, like, self-motivation. And I think, interestingly, what has always kept me motivated in school are the people around me.
Yeah.
Like, kind of, like, checking in and...
Yeah. Like, holding you accountable.
Holding me accountable for my work. Not just teachers, but, like, peers and stuff. When people are around me, it's less easy for me to drift off and start doing whatever the hell. Which was not an experience that I was allowed to have in social isolation.
Right.
Which kind of immediately led me to just not do work.
Yeah.
And especially when it came to like Zoom meetings, I was super disconnected. I couldn't like pay attention to what the teacher was saying because it was on a screen and the quality was god awful and like and I was in my room on a shitty desk with like no sense of... I think this is the exact desk because I think we donated it. But it might be. I might be wrong though. But yeah, it was crazy. In like those first initial months, I just like it really took a turn for the worst. Immediately.
Yeah. Wow, that was a quick turn for you, huh?
Yeah.
How, I guess, as we kind of moved on, summer kind of hit, and we came back to school. Not came back physically, but we, came back online. How was that experience? How was that year of like full online? Were you a part of hybrid?
I was never a part of hybrid.
Yeah. So how was that full year of online?
I think because it was at this point when like and we'd already realized that before, but like we knew this isn't going. This is staying around for a while.
Right.
So I spent a lot of that time just like scraping by. I started the year absolutely hopeless. I had completely tanked during the end of the last school year. I was finding out whole new awful things about myself over summer. And when starting that school year, I was just like, this is the year where I fail everything and get held back. And because of this, I did a lot of spiraling.
Yeah.
I did a lot of spiraling, especially because I feel like a lot of people, because most of the students had families. A smaller portion of those students had families that they felt they could talk to.
Yeah.
And I was not in that. I was not in that portion of children. I was split between two houses, which was already not fun.
Yeah.
At one house, my dad was always out on work. My stepmom at the time was emotionally and physically distant, always in her room. I was alone most of the time. And then I would go to my mom's house and I would experience the inability to interact with what was comparatively a much noisier house.
Right.
Because it was my single mom and my 2 twin siblings, who at the time would have been like 8 years old each.
Yeah.
Which was not fun.
Yeah.
So, like, when I came to my mom's house, I self-isolated because
Yeah.
I just couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, sometimes I look and I think, man, I wish I had a like support system of people who were actually like there and present during that time.
Yeah.
Because I think I could have not maybe done better in school, but like saved a bit of my mental state. Because I went to some pretty dark places during that time. I like I said, I found out all these things about myself that I had no idea were kind of like dormant in terms of mental issues.
Yeah.
And I as well, like during December of 2020, made the ultimate decision to leave my father's house. Because I was just like, there's no way. It was like a couple of months after the first and only time that I had ever for a moment considered suicide.
Yeah.
It was not a good time for me. But I moved out of my dad's house, went to my mom's house full time, got a therapist.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Thank the therapist.
Yeah. He was amazing.
Yeah.
And I like the end of the 2020-2021 school year was like the start of my healing period, I think.
Yeah.
I had heard about hybrid learning and everybody was like, oh boy, I get to go back into school. And I was like, dude, it is so like not soon enough for me to be doing this. Because at that point it was less about doing school and literally I halfway through the school year, like I did the first semester with all my classes. Like I had like 6 classes.
Yeah.
And then immediately, like after the first semester, my mom and I made the choice that like I can't do all of these classes, so I'm literally just going to do math, social studies. No, I don't think I even did math because I didn't have to.
Oh.
Because you only needed 3 years, 3 math credits. So I was like, if I can skip out on math this year, I'm going to. So it was literally just like social studies, language arts, and I think that was it.
Yeah.
That was all I was doing for the second half of that school year because I literally couldn't handle anything else.
Yeah.
It was so much less about like succeeding in school and so much more about surviving.
Yeah.
And being at a point where I wasn't like dead on the inside or on the outside, you know?
Absolutely. I guess, how is your mental health healing journey going? Because, I mean, I mean, COVID's not completely over and it's not gone. And I guess, I mean, how are you doing now, both mentally and like school-wise?
I'd like to think I've come out a lot stronger. I feel like that, like, you know, I think it's Japanese, the like style of pottery where you break the vase and you fill the cracks in with that like gold.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like, because I definitely feel like I've gotten a lot stronger as a person.
Kintsugi.
Yeah.
I might have butchered that pronunciation, but
a lot. I'm doing a lot better in school, better than I was before COVID, I think.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, because
awesome.
I think it really helped me to like recontextualize everything that I had thought and when it doesn't matter as much to me, I do a lot better. Because I realized, like, oh, this doesn't, like, fucking, it's a grade. The only thing that this is going to affect is me getting into college, and guess what I'm not doing anytime soon?
Yeah, no. You really called your boundaries there. You were like, hey, I know what's best for me, and I'm not...
I think what COVID really helped me do was, like, determine what I can handle, what I can prepare myself to handle, and what I need to set aside for a much later date. And I think that's really helped me, like, that's helped me grow, that's helped me be a much newer person every day, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. How did the school and staff and admin kind of support you or not support you over the pandemic?
So the one person, and so Mr. Johnson was my advisor.
Yeah.
And throughout that entire time, he was, and I wish I had taken advantage of it more, because I was not, I was just not in a place to really accept more help that I felt I even deserved, which was weird.
Yeah.
But like, he constantly was like, this week I'm going to do one-on-one checkups with you all, and I'm going to, you know, like, see how you're doing with your grades, and, like, ask you if you need anything from me, and, like, we're going to set it up, we're going to do it, and I was just like, nope.
Yeah.
And I wish I hadn't, but when I think about, like, the school staff who supported me, it was always Mr. Johnson, who was trying his best.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, I didn't really get much of anything.
Yeah.
Mostly because I didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
I think during that time, I really think the support from the school was sort of like a first come, first serve sort of thing, where if you weren't interested in getting help, you weren't going to get help.
Yeah, absolutely. Because so many people needed it. So, like, if you weren't able to voice that, you
kind of got left.
Were overlooked.
By the wayside, yeah.
Yeah.
Which sucked, but I don't know. I don't really have a follow-up to that.
Yeah, well, do you think that anyone could have done better, or that, you know, the school admin or school staff could have supported you in any other way, or?
I think I always wish, you always wish that things could be better.
Yeah.
But I definitely, from what Gabe had said before, I agree. Like, I don't blame most of them, but, like, I don't blame most of the people who were, like, involved in just, like, that. You know what I wish? This is maybe weird, right? And this doesn't have so much to do with COVID itself as, like, after.
Yeah.
I wish that we hadn't done pass-fail for as long as we did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mostly because I think...
Oh, for clarification, we're talking about the grading system. So instead of taking letter grades, you had the option to take a pass or a fail in any class.
And we did that, I think, like, into the...
We did that from the end of 9th up to 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah, but by the time 11th kind of hit, most people were not doing the pass-fail, so... Yeah. Yeah.
I think... Because I think I kind of wish they had, like, stopped it in, like, the first semester of 11th. Mostly because, like... To not, like... I don't know. I kind of wish I had been pressured more.
Into taking letter grades?
Into working.
Oh.
Through 11th grade.
Right.
Because, like, now I do really well. 11th grade, it was not...
Yeah.
I was not a star student. I was not the most diligent.
Yeah.
Which definitely could have been because of, like, you know, coming off of the entire insanity of isolation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if they had removed pass fail, it would have, like, at the very least for me, like, would have woken me up and
It would have been
like,
yeah.
Oh, I gotta get on this.
It's a hard deadline.
It's a hard deadline.
It's like,
yeah.
you need this to pass.
Yeah.
And...
that was another thing that happened as well. Like,
mm-hmm.
over COVID, deadlines got, like, really, like...
Yeah, debatable.
Debatable.
Or, like, wavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which wasn't something that I necessarily disagreed with. I kind of like, even now that deadlines are a little bit more loosey-goosey, as long as you get it in by, like, the end of the quarter or the semester. Yeah. I think that works now, but, like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Kind of moving on to the present.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do some fun reflection pieces.
Yes.
I guess to start off, how was working on this project for you?
It's super fun.
Yeah.
I've said this before, but, like, from the moment you approached me about this, I was like on board with it. So on board with it. I had so much fun. I've had so much fun, like, these past few weeks, just, like, going around and talking to people. Doing the shadowing stuff was not the best, because I tried to in, like, those first few weeks, and then, like, just completely was like, I'm giving up. I can't talk to anybody in the real world, so, like, why try anyways? And then Mr. Tyler and Mr. Johnson, who are the best teachers ever, helped me, and they were like, let's find some podcasters to do interviews with, and that went well.
Yeah. How was making those connections? Was it a fun experience?
That was interesting. I've told you this before, but I still just find it so weird that, like, any person on planet Earth would voluntarily have a conversation with me. 'Cause, like, I have an inferiority complex against everything. I am, like, this itty-bitty speck of dust who deserves no respect.
No, that's not true.
That's how it feels, you know? Like, and it was, like, so weird to even, like, send emails and then receive responses to those emails. Yeah. One of the people, I forget who it was, but he literally responded within, like, 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my God.
Nice.
What the hell? And he was like, yeah, I'm down for an interview in, like, 5 hours. And I was like, what?
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, that's a quick turn.
That was a quick turn. But it was interesting to kind of, like, because I feel like now I maybe am shaking off that attitude of, like,
you have to talk to the people that we...
Yeah.
And it was even weirder for you, because I think you didn't know some of the people that I was bringing
There were a lot of people that I didn't know.
Yeah, and you kind of had to, like, shake that off and be like, well, we're starting, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm opening, like...
Like, it's... There's been a constant battle for me of, like, shaking off this feeling of, like, worthlessness. I honestly think this project has helped a lot with that, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. Was there a specific guest, or maybe like a few guests that you think that you learned a lot from, or that you're like taking information from moving forward?
Mm-hmm. I think Jody.
Yeah.
Because I said this when we started that episode.
Mm-hmm.
But she's my aunt. Not through blood. She was my old stepmom's sister. But we still like maintain
A familial relationship.
a familial relationship. Yeah. And I've known her for a while, like a good. God, as long as I've known Max, I've known Jody.
Yeah.
Like 7-8 years at this point.
Wow.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And I've never, I didn't really like fully talk to her in that time. I knew her through like interactions we'd have where I would go over to Max's house and be like, "Hi, Jody," and she'd be like, "Hi," and like, and all that. But that was like my first experience really getting into like knowing her, and then like looking at that through a lens of COVID.
Yeah.
Not only was that just like really interesting for me personally, but I think a lot of the things she said were really, really interesting, and like talking about the experience of like trying to essentially lead a school through the most insane times of our lives.
Yeah.
And then as well trying to support 3 children, and like that entire like talking to her was just so interesting.
Yeah.
I loved that
experience. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Like I think often the way that schools are run feels very like privatized almost.
Yeah.
Like only the people who are in the in-group understand how it works. And so it was really cool to meet with a principal, or like, what was her official title? I don't remember. But like it was really cool to meet with someone who, you know, had that interaction with staff and students, and also administration and leading. And I think that was really unique. And personally, I haven't met a lot of great principals in my life. Not saying that they're not out there, but like it was really incredible to sit down with Jody and be like, oh, like I can see how hard you're working.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the school, and how much you genuinely love your position despite the hardships. And it was
inspiring.
Yeah, it was really inspiring. Did these interviews kind of make you like rethink kind of just in general about COVID, or like see it through a different lens? Specifically how COVID affected schools. And was that like a good thing or a bad thing?
It's never going to be a bad thing to soak up more experiences.
Yeah.
That's always been my opinion. But like it has done this kind of incredible thing where it's like really recontextualized everything for me.
Yeah.
You can only... No, it's funny as well, because we've been talking about this in humanities. Statistics hide real experiences.
Yeah.
You can read as many like COVID statistics as you want. You can read about the percentage of students that felt lonely during COVID, the percentage of students that were that like grades tanked during COVID, and all this. But like really like talking to people, human beings, and just like and absorbing their experiences through like this kind of shared massive world event has really made me think about like just how massive everything was.
Yeah.
I think during COVID, I felt like very trapped you know?
Yeah.
And I felt like there was just nothing for me or for anybody. And kind of like seeing how everybody else's experiences went through that time are kind of like making me think, wow, like everybody was going through this, and yet at the same time nobody had the same experience.
Yeah.
And like and allowing the space to like talk and think about those times, how they've changed us, how they've changed the school system, how there's really a lot more awareness now about how crappy American public schools are.
Yeah.
And how COVID really like stripped this school system down to the barest layer and was like, these are the problems that we have. And COVID has exacerbated them, but these are problems that have existed since we've had American public schools.
Yeah.
And that ability to really take a critical look and think, what do we need to do moving forward? And what can we learn from people's experiences? And that's been, I think, really important.
Yeah.
Through this, for me at least.
I would agree. Yeah. What were some highlights of this project, like working through all of our experiences, and what were some of the downfalls?
Yeah. Downfalls, like I said, the shadowing experiences, I just like that was a new noise that I just
yeah.
But like I that was also like a time where I was like not feeling the best. It's weird as well because like after COVID I've had like I keep finding new things that are wrong with me, and then overcoming those things, and then like spending a month of being pretty chill, and then finding a new thing.
Yeah.
So like the shadowing experience ended up becoming a new thing for me to be like, oh boy, I have no prospects. I'm the worst human being. But like now I'm past it. I'm like, oh, it's like fine. I was just feeling very, especially demotivated at the time. But like in terms of highlights, I know we joke about it that we've been spending so much time together.
Oh my gosh.
But that has genuinely been really nice.
Yeah.
Like working through this project.
It's been real.
It's been real. Like working through this project, like doing these interviews, it's been nice to just like have you at my side and like and to be there with you as well as the one who came up with this entire project. I am so happy to support you, and I'm happy that you're supporting me, and I like honestly we could be doing anything. And it's we
could be rewriting the Constitution.
We could be rewriting the goddamn Constitution, and I would be over the moon. Because it's just been a delight to do this with you.
That's so sweet. I'm not going to cry for a fourth time this week. But yeah, that's super sweet. Yeah, I agree. We've been joking about it a lot. You know, all of our sentences are starting to match up. We're starting to make the same noises at the same time. Like
it's scary. It's scary.
It's horrifying. And I know I keep joking about having to kill you after this so that there aren't two of us. But, you know, it's super cool to be so in sync working with someone, because I don't think I've had that experience.
Yeah.
Especially as, like, I don't know, I wouldn't consider myself a leader necessarily, but as someone who leads a lot of projects, like,
God.
I'm not really working in sync with people.
Uh-huh.
I'm making those final decisions, or I'm sort of like guiding everyone through. And so it's been a really cool process, actually feeling like someone is keeping pace with me and feeling very equal. So.
Yeah, no, that rings very true for me as well, because like I hate working with people.
Yeah, right.
I hate it. I hate it. And it's like not anything about the like inherent experience of working with people, but I am just not like the right person. I get attached to my own ideas, and then the second somebody else comes up with a better idea, I'm like, okay, throw everything away that I just said, because it all sucks. It's all awful. I hate it. Why did I even come up with that? I'm a fucking idiot. And like, I get very in my own head when it comes to group projects. It's all or nothing. I'm very bad. I need to get better about that. And that even like goes for like pairing with people as well. Like that just, it never goes well for me. But like, I think it's like a mixture of, we just like have a good, like, we have good vibes.
We have good chemistry.
We have
like
a good, in
like a very friend platonic way. Like we just click.
We click very well.
Yeah.
I think you said before that you couldn't imagine doing this project with anyone else, and I couldn't imagine doing this project with anyone else.
Yeah.
Because just like, I couldn't imagine doing this project with anyone else but you. It's special.
Yeah. It's a great experience.
Yeah.
Is there any part of this project that you wish we could have done differently, or that like you think we could have like improved upon?
I wish I had contacted more people. Because I feel like you took a lot of the charge on that front.
I did.
And I'm also not the best at like emailing, so
yeah. But I feel like we balance out. Like I wrote a lot of the questions and I emailed a lot of the people, and in return, I dumped most of the editing on you.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not going to help. Not that I can't. Not that we can't afford to only rely on you. But like I think we kind of balanced out.
Yeah.
Pretty socially. Like I got to play to my skills, which are written conversation.
Yeah,
and, like,
you've
work.
Written so many of the questions, and it's literally because the second I think of like what to ask somebody, all thoughts leave my head.
Yeah,
I'm like, how did you feel?
Well, that's really cool because I got to sit here and write up a ton of these things that I had in my head that I wanted to discuss, and you helped me clarify the questions and make everything look nice and pretty, and and that really meant a lot to me. And
I'm less of a brain picker in like the logical sense and more of a brain picker in the emotional sense. Yeah, like I'd like to think I'm good at making people talk.
Yeah, you're also good at talking.
I'm also good at talking.
Not in a mean way. Like, you're really good at holding a conversation and keeping it going. And, knowing when is the right time to, like, oh, I can add, like, a little bit of my personal experience. Or, maybe here and there we'll add a few, like, facts or some, like, memories from the previous, episodes that we were recording. Like, I just think that's really unique. And I'm really happy because we balanced out really well. But I totally get why you would be like, oh, yeah, I wish I had emailed a few more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This has been a really unique project.
It has been.
Yeah. Is there, I guess, anything you wish to expand upon with the rest of your time?
There's a lot of things.
We could talk forever.
We really could. You have no idea.
The listeners are so lucky.
The listeners are so lucky
that they haven't been on our 6-hour phone calls.
It is probably hell if anyone were to listen to them.
Yeah.
Podcast from hell. That's actually a good idea.
That's so funny.
But like, it's all been so weird. Like,
weird positive or weird negative?
Weird.
Or both. Yeah.
It's been weird. It's been neither positive nor negative.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to think of things in terms of positive or negative. It just kind of is, you know? Like, this...
It's a very, like, hippie way of saying that. I don't know if there's a better way to describe it. No, like, your mindset is very, like, flippant, but not in a bad way. Like, it's just, like, things happen.
Things happen, yeah. Like, things have happened, and, I mean, we're all kind of just, like, moving forward and doing the best we can. I look at my peers and my teachers and my family, and for the vast majority of them, the only thing I can be is proud. 'Cause it's been fucking wild. Like, there's really no other way to describe it. We went through such a massive shift in every dynamic. And we've come through on the other side, and we're changed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, like, completely changed. We still keep things, but we've been changed. All of us have been changed, I think.
Yeah.
The society has been changed by just, like, this massive, like, this is, it's so unique.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been a COVID-19 other than COVID-19.
Yeah, like there were other pandemics or epidemics,
Mm-hmm.
but
never on this scale and at this time.
I don't know about never on the scale, but never at this time, and it's a very
when
unique position.
when speaking about scale, I mean, like,
within recent years, I guess.
The fact that we as like, we have the internet,
mm-hmm.
and everything is so interconnected. We're in the age of information.
Yeah.
And
I think Johnson's been sending us a lot of articles. I don't know if you've been reading them, but I think one of them worded this perfectly, where it was like, we're in a unique time where we had the resources, we had the researchers, we had the support
mm-hmm.
infrastructure, we had all this stuff, and we were capable, but we just weren't, like, prepared to sort of follow through with things
mm-hmm.
that felt necessary. And yeah, in that sense, like, I think it's very unique. This is one of the, I would argue, one of the more, like, super large scale sort of pandemics to hit in a
mm-hmm.
while, that, you know, were handleable, but still we, you know, really struggled to get, like, a cap on things, and we're still struggling, and it's not for a lack of understanding or a lack of, I guess, resources. It's kind of like a lack of discipline right now.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
And I think, like, most of all, I really hope that we can, like, I don't know, like, things have not gotten better, you know? Like, aside from just COVID-19, 2020 was a massive year because of the, like, Black Lives Matter with, you know, all of that, and, like, the presidential elections and the World War III scare. That was crazy.
That was crazy. The killer wasps, the hornets, or whatever.
Like,
no.
And just all of these things going on.
Comeback of polio too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
And like, I think a lot of people think things are like improving, and I on some levels they are. On some levels things are always improving, but I think on more levels things are just like, we haven't taken a critical look at things as a society. Like, and I this is obviously from an American perspective, but like, it's really, really due for us to like just like breathe things in for a moment and really think about what
we still have the clean air.
Yeah. While we still have the clean air, let's take a deep darn breath.
Yeah.
And like just reevaluate and reassess what are we?
Yeah.
What are we? Like, as this is starting to get very existential, so I will try to put a cap on it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, as a society, we're lost. We don't know what's going on, like, at all, really. The only people who know what's going on are the people who are interested in keeping things the way that they are.
Yeah.
And those few who are really like thinking critically about things and taking everything in and using that to come up with real solutions are ignored largely, I think. When COVID happened, so many things changed, and for a long time there was really like space for us to charge forward into like into something new. And I think that opportunity is closing.
That's fair. I guess as we close the episode, I'm going to ask you the fun question that we've been kind of asking everyone in some variation, you know, like whether it be like, if you had like a chance, what would you say to your younger self? Like, or like pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Or I guess you can answer that, or if you feel like it, you can answer like, how's the outlook?
Yeah.
What is it like, kind of like standing on the edge of this like precipice and like looking over and being like, I'm about to start a whole new chapter of my life. How
I'll do you one better. I'll answer both.
Okay.
For starters, I think I would go back and I would tell my younger self, it's not everything. Like, there's always the next day and the next hour and the next minute and the next second. And I think I really, during that time, I obsessed over, like, just my inability to do things. I even as well, like, in, like, last school year, for that, like, 2-week period where we were doing distance learning because of the Omicron, I had, like, this huge relapse. Yeah. I fell back into old behaviors. I really, for that time, I was like, oh no, it's happening again. I'm gonna have to spend the rest of my life in my house. And like, thankfully that wave came and went, but like, I think it was really proof that my mental state was still fragile, and it still is. I am still like working on it, and this is something that I need to tell myself every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I wish I had known. And it's that, like, the more that you focus on your own inability, the more you confirm it with yourself. And I really wish that I had been able to break out of that and say, I may not be able to do things for myself right now, but I can start doing things that will help me in the future. I will do things to help me 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, a day, a week, a month, a year, forever from now. And I'm starting to, like, kind of realize that within myself, and that's, like, been helping me, you know? And then for the second one, for just, like, outlook, I'm optimistic, I think. Which is a rare thing to say about myself.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
I feel like you consider yourself a pessimist, but the things you say are pretty positive usually.
I think the things I say they seem positive to other people.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
But, like, oftentimes they come from a place of, like me trying to, like, not lie to myself, but, like, but just keep myself sane.
That's fair.
But for this, I think it is, like, I'm genuinely hopeful. Not for humanity. Like,
we've given up on that.
Like I said, I think unless things start to change real goddamn fast,
yeah,
we're likely headed on just a dive.
Yeah.
That's certainly going to be interesting. But for myself, I think I spent a lot of this year in particular, really worried about the future.
Mm-hmm.
Really concerned that I wasn't taking steps to to help myself,
mm-hmm.
or concerned that I was gonna get out of high school and then have no prospects.
Yeah.
But I think recently I've come out of that for a bit, and inevitably I'm going to go back into it because the tides always come in and out. But, like, I think genuinely I'm pretty cool, and, like,
yeah, you are. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take the next few years of my life to just be and really I'm gonna explore
mm-hmm.
myself and the world, and I'm gonna do my best to just, like, do what I have always done, which is to soak in as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I live life vicariously through other people by talking to them and absorbing as much as I can, and then taking that wisdom and giving it to others.
This feels a little bit like Coughlin's philosophy, which is, like, stay a child, like, keep that child wonder.
You know, that's one of the things that I think I do agree with.
Yeah.
With Coughlin.
Absolutely. I mean, and we had that conversation about, like, sponges, like kids being sponges, and humanities, like, the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Keat and I, not the listeners, but like, it feels very much like you're gonna keep being a sponge.
I want to be a sponge for as long as I can.
Yeah.
Because the more I sponge, the wetter I get.
No. I'm forcibly ending this conversation at that point.
I mean it. If I sponge up as much as I can use that. I can use that.
a word, and the word is like absorb.
I know.
But
I'm a sponge. And I soak up the water and I get wet. Listeners, she's giving me the most annoyed look right now.
I'm trying to debate whether or not we're going to keep this part in. I think we should.
No, it's so funny. Anyways, yeah, like that's just my philosophy, I think. Like the more I can take in, the more I can use that and just like go forward and be someone that people honestly like. I'm gonna be a person that people will like, and I'm gonna be a person that people will think
you will like.
Yeah, I'll like myself. Just for you.
So not that's still making it about someone else.
Nope.
Fair enough.
The self-motivation will come later. Yeah. Eventually, maybe. Who knows?
Well, thank you for your royal sponginess and for, showing up today.
Showing up today?
Yeah. Thanks for showing up
Oh,
today
I am a guest.
on
yeah,
a required community day.
Yep.
This has been enlightening for someone, not me, but
yeah.
No, it's been great. Thank you for
most of the stuff you already knew, but
yeah, I mean 6-hour phone calls and all, but
yep.
I think it's always nice to hear it again, and yeah, thank you for working with me. Yeah. I guess that's how I'll end it.